Hi, this is Elizabeth at craftsbyhappystamper.com. Thanks for joining me today. Today I'm sharing with you how I made this Chinese food takeout box. At least that's the style of it. This project is part of the One Stamp at a Time uh, February blog hop that's going on right now. You can click on the link in the description to follow along with the blog hop. To go inside the Chinese food box, I also made these fortune cookies, which are in a separate video tutorial on my channel that you could check out today. So, to get started, to make the Chinese food box, I first had to figure out how to make it. So I just took this scrap piece of 12 by 12 cardstock and started folding it to try to figure out what I wanted to do. And you could see it's a really cheap piece of paper, kept ripping and tearing, but that's the general outline of how I did it. Then I picked the piece of pretty designer series paper that I wanted to use. And basically, you have to score it on all four sides at 2 inches and 4 inches. So you could see me, that's what I'm doing now. I'm scoring each side at 2 inches and 4 inches and turning it 90 degrees and repeating for all four sides. Isn't this awesome paper? This is from the It's My Party Designers Series paper stack that's in the Occasions catalog right now. This is my favorite piece in the whole stack. I love the Sahara sand with the white whisper white polka dots. So then I got out my Simply Scored uh, with its diagonal plate. You don't absolutely need the plate for this, but I like to do it. I thought it was easier to use this plate. Basically, you just put the corner and the very edge and score from the first two squares. So just a 4 by 4 square, you're scoring the diagonal. That you could see me doing that, and you need to do it on all four squares. You also need to score just 2 inches down at 6-inch mark on two alternating sides. So you just line it up with the 6-inch and score down to the first score mark. Now, when I was doing this, I did it on all four sides, but after I did that, I realized that you really only need it on two sides, and they need to be opposite sides, whichever two sides you pick them to be. It doesn't matter which two, but you're going to later fold them without. Now that score mark that you made at the 6-inch mark, you need to score another diagonal in that little 2-inch square. So I'm using my paper trimmer to line up that square. There might be an easier way to use the Simply Score to do this, but I just felt like this was an easier way. I didn't know any other way to do it. So I just lined up the 6-inch score with the point of the other two. And you need to do this on all four of the sides of it. Now I'm creasing those. You can see I'm creasing them right now. They need to crease in, so I'm folding the paper in half, or the diagonal of the corner of the paper in half, and then I flipped it over 180 degrees and did it the same thing on the other side, which you can see me doing now. And I'm using my bone folder to help me crease the creases really well. You don't necessarily need the bone folder, but it just makes everything nice and tight when you fold it and neat. And after I did it for those two, I flipped the paper upside down and started scoring because I want the polka dots on the outside and the mint macaroon on the inside. This is the direction that it all needs to be folded in. So you just need to crease every score mark that you made is what you need to crease really well, and I use my bone folder and my hands to do it. Now don't forget to also do the diagonals. I forgot for a second there, and then I had to go back and do the diagonals because uh, you really need those to be nice and tight because those are going to wrap around the sides of the box like a traditional Chinese food takeout container does. So I found it easiest to crease if I pretended like I was going to fold the paper in half in the diagonal. Now you could see I'm just folding the sides together, and they will overlap on the alternating sides. See this one here, I'm just showing you how I didn't fold it all the way, and I had to go back and do it. I stapled my sides closed just like a traditional takeout box. I wish I had freezed that frame, but you'll get to see it again here. There you go. Too fast. Hopefully you can figure it out. But you do them on alternating sides, and I just used a stapler to adhere them. And you can see me doing it again for the second side there. That way that they are not coming apart. Now you could see the double up of the flaps there. Uh, later, you don't need to do anything. You can just leave it like that. I use my Big Bite to punch a 3/16, 3/8 inch hole in the sides of my box, the part that are gonna bend, not bend inward. So on the same sides where you have the staples from the folded flaps, and you could see that the top part bends inward. Now I measured out a 10-inch piece of Sahara sand lace and a 10-inch piece of mint macaroon lace and threaded them through the holes. If you have a handheld hole punch, that would be much easier than a big bite. So if you don't have a big bite, don't worry about it. Use a handheld punch. I just don't have one, so I had to use a big bite. And I just tied a simple knot there. And at first, when I first made this, I was like, that's all I'm going to do. But then I was looking at it and I was like, that looks kind of plain. So I decided that it needs to be dressed up a little more, but I'm just showing you now how it looks from the sides. It's a very nice looking 4x4x2 box. So I decided to to make a tag using some stamps from the You're So Lovely stamp set, which has got to be one of my favorite stamp sets from the Occasions catalog. And I'm using this diagonal crisscross here to dress up the bottom of this 2-inch piece of Whisper White cardstock, and I'm stamping it in Sahara sand, and I'm using my grid mat to help me make a straight line. Then my sentiment is going to be, trust me, you're lovely. Since the theme of this blog hop is love is in the air, the theme of all of my projects are love notes and, uh, you know, love in general, but not necessarily Valentine's Day, just anything that you might love someone for, right? Could be wedding, anniversaries, you could just love a friend, right? Whatever you want it to be. So I decided to stamp the sentiment in mint macaroon, which coordinates with the other colors in the It's My Party card stock pat or designer series paper stack. And then on top of that, I did another Sahara Sand diagonal line stamp. Now, I used a long piece of Whisper White because I wasn't sure how big I needed it for my sentiment, but I ended up cutting it down to a 2-inch by 3-inch piece of cardstock. And I used my ornamental tag topper to punch out a tag top for it. I cut another piece of 2-inch by 3-inch mint macaroon cardstock, and I actually cut it a little too big the first time, so that you see me there trimming it down. And then I used the ornament tag topper to also punch out a tag top for that. So it should be exactly the same size as the Whisper White one I did before. I'm going to use my Project Life corner rounder to round the edges just to finish off the tag. And I'm going to do that to both the mint macaroon piece as well as the Whisper White piece. This is definitely not something you have to do. I just think that with the ornamental tag topper being kind of rounded at the top, it makes it look complete and finished. So I wanted my tags to kind of lay catacorns, so I put a little piece of tape on the piece of mint macaroon, and then I made them permanently stick kind of catacorns, so you'd always see a little bit of the mint macaroon. So I'm going to attach this to the top, but I decided I needed to get some linen thread and that it would be nice to have some sequins to pull a little more color into this. Since my fortune cookies are using like melon mambo and crushed curry, which are very bright colors, and mint macaroon, I thought it'd be nice to bring in some sequins that are similar in color. Now these are sequins that are left over from my January paper pumpkin kit, and they gave us 5 yards of sequin trim, and I think that this color is supposed to be similar to watermelon Wonder. Is that the name of the color? I just blanked on it. But regardless, it's very similar to Melon Mambo, which is the coordinating color of this paper stack. So I figure that it's good enough. So I tried a little bow using the linen thread to attach just this, the sequin trim and the tags to my Chinese food takeout box. And I don't know why I decided to show you my painfully slow process of making a bow, but I'm really bad at making bows. When I get to craft with my friend Brenda, I'm always like, please make my bow. But here's me just making a teeny tiny linen thread bow. And then I will cut the little strings leftover strings to a size that I like better, which I decided to keep them long like the sequin trim is. Now, at this point, I was like, this looks done. But when I put it next to you could see the tag very clearly there. But when I put it next to the fortune cookies, I thought it still needed some yellow in it to give it a punch. So I was off camera already, but I added the crushed curry enamel dots that are in the It's My Party pack that are in the Occasions catalog. And see, now you can see how the finished Chinese food takeout box looks with their fortune cookies decorating them. They, of course, fit inside. You can actually fit about 6 of these fortune cookies inside this box without any trouble. But I hope you liked this Chinese food takeout box. I think it looks really cute and it'd be a fun gift to make for somebody. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so. And I hope you'll click on the link in the description in order to follow along with the rest of the hop. Have a great day.